They said it could never fall. For 1,000 years, the walls of Constantinople had stood unbroken, repelling sieges, outlasting empires, and weathering the storms of history. Behind those walls, golden domes caught the sun, markets bustled with traders from 3 continents, and priests chanted in the echoing halls of the Hagia Sophia. It was the last jewel of the Byzantine Empire, the last great city linking Europe to Asia and to the world beyond. But in the spring of 1453, a new force gathered on its doorstep. Mehmed II, the 21-year-old Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, had sworn that Constantinople would be his, no matter the cost. His empire surrounded the city on all sides, yet the fortress still stood, defiant and proud. Mehmed was determined to end that defiance. The army he assembled was vast, tens of thousands strong. Elite janissaries in disciplined ranks, cavalry squadrons that could strike like lightning, siege engineers from across the known world. And among their weapons was something the city had never faced before: the Great Bombard, a massive cannon built by a Hungarian engineer named Orban. Its stone projectiles weighed hundreds of pounds, capable of smashing through walls that had stood for centuries. Inside the city, the situation was dire before the siege even began. Emperor Constantine XI could count fewer than 10,000 defenders, including foreign allies from Venice and Genoa. Supplies were limited. The people prayed for aid from Europe, but week after week, no great relief fleet appeared on the horizon. The siege began with thunder. The Great Bombard and other cannons roared day and night, their blasts shaking the ground like earthquakes. Walls cracked, towers crumbled. But under the cover of darkness, the defenders worked tirelessly, patching breaches with rubble, earth, and timber. The city held. Mehmed knew brute force alone would not be enough. Then came one of the most daring moves in siege history. The Golden Horn, Constantinople's northern harbor, was guarded by a giant chain that no ship could pass. But Mehmed ordered dozens of his ships dragged over land, rolled across greased logs, and launched into the water behind the chain. Overnight, the defenders awoke to find enemy ships where none had been before. Now the city was attacked from both land and sea. The days that followed were grim. Food grew scarce. Disease spread. Priests led processions through the streets, carrying icons and relics, begging for divine intervention. Still, the enemy tightened the noose. Skirmishes raged along the walls, and the cannons pounded without mercy. In the final days, the defenders knew the end was near, but there was no surrender. Emperor Constantine XI donned his armor and took his place on the battlements. On May 29, 1453, before dawn, the Ottomans launched their final assault. Waves of soldiers surged forward, drums beating, horns blaring. The outer defenses fell, and the janissaries stormed the breaches. Amid the chaos, the emperor cast aside his imperial robes and charged into the fray, never to be seen again. By midday, it was over. Ottoman banners flew above the towers. The Hagia Sophia, once the grandest church in Christendom, became a mosque. Survivors were enslaved or fled into exile. After more than 1,000 years, the Byzantine Empire was gone. But the fall of Constantinople was not just the end of an empire, it was the beginning of a new world. Across Europe, the news struck like lightning. If the strongest walls in the world could fall, no city was safe. With trade routes through the east now in Ottoman hands, merchants and monarchs sought new paths to Asia. This desperation would send ships around Africa's southern tip, across the Atlantic, and into lands Europeans had never imagined. The fall of one city helped spark the age of exploration. For the Ottomans, Constantinople, now Istanbul, became the crown of an empire that would dominate the Eastern Mediterranean for centuries. From this city, the sultans ruled lands stretching from the deserts of Arabia to the gates of Vienna. Mehmed II, still in his youth, would be remembered as the conqueror, a man who bent the course of history to his will. Even today, the story echoes. The shattered stones of the Theodosian walls still stand, silent witnesses to the day an empire died. The Hagia Sophia still rises above the skyline, its history written in both Christian mosaics and Islamic calligraphy. And the lesson remains unchanged. No matter how great, no matter how mighty, every city, every empire is mortal. In the tide of time, nothing lasts forever.